The galactic database had exactly three settings: safe, caution advised, and screaming. For the past 12,000 years, Earth had been the only planet where the database simply displayed an animated GIF of someone running away while on fire. Nobody knew who programmed that feature, but everyone agreed it was probably accurate. Captain Kyrex Vorthanian of the Stellar Dominion stood on the bridge of his conquest vessel, the inevitable disappointment, a name that would prove prophetic in ways his species' gift for prophecy had utterly failed to predict. His 9 eyes, arranged in a pattern that coincidentally looked like a surprised face, focused on the blue marble floating in the viewscreen. "Sir!" wheezed his Lieutenant Blorg minimum effort, a gelatinous being whose entire evolutionary line had been dedicated to doing the least amount of work possible. "The database is having some kind of breakdown. It's just showing us videos of humans doing something called planking. I don't understand. They're just lying down in random places for no reason." "Ignore it," Kyrex said, his voice carrying the confidence of someone who had conquered 47 star systems and only accidentally destroyed 3 of them. "The database is clearly malfunctioning. Look at these creatures. Bipedal, mostly hairless, fragile. They need water to live. Who needs water? That's like having a fatal allergy to existing." His science officer, a crystalline entity named Prism Overthinks Everything, chimed in with the sound of a wind chime falling down an elevator shaft. "Captain, I'm detecting concerning levels of what appears to be organized chaos. They have thousands of nuclear weapons, but they're all pointed at themselves. It's like holding yourself hostage and demanding ransom from yourself." Primitive warfare tactics," Kyrex dismissed, though one of his backup brains was starting to get nervous. His species had 3 brains, one for thinking, one for backup thinking, and one that exclusively handled anxiety about social situations. Right now, all 3 were focused on Earth. "Sir," Blorg oozed forward, "they're broadcasting something. Should I put it through the universal translator?" "Yes. Let's hear what these primitives have to say. Probably prayers to their primitive gods," or what came through the speakers would haunt every crew member for the rest of their significantly shortened lifespans. It was a cacophony that the translator identified as a podcast about true crime where the hosts are eating breakfast. The sounds of murder descriptions mixed with casual munching of cereal created a cognitive dissonance that made several crew members' heads literally spin. "What the zork is this?" Kyrex shouted, using his species' most offensive swear word. "They appeared to be entertaining themselves with descriptions of their own species killing each other while consuming nutrients," Prism analyzed, his crystalline form developing stress fractures. "It's multitasking but horrible. Turn it off! Turn it off!" But it was too late. The communications officer, a being of pure energy named Frequency Inappropriate, was already addicted. "Wait, sir. They're about to reveal who the killer was. Also, this thing called bacon they're eating sounds amazing. It's flesh, but crispy. How do you make flesh crispy?" "Focus!" Kyrex roared. "Prepare the subjugation beam. We'll grab one of their leaders and—" "Sir," Blorg interrupted, "I'm having trouble identifying their command structure. According to their internet, their most influential person is someone called Mr. Beast, who apparently gives away money for no reason while filming it. That can't be right. Then grab a government official. I found something called a DMV. It appears to be where humans go to suffer voluntarily. The life signs inside show extreme stress, boredom, and resignation. It might be some kind of ritual punishment center. Perfect. Anyone who works there must be important." "Grab one!" The teleportation beam locked onto its target with precision that had been perfected over millennia. The human materialized on their bridge, holding a half-eaten sandwich and a stamp that said "Rejected" in red ink. His name was Gerald Fleming, age 53, and he had worked at the DMV for 27 years. He had seen everything. Nothing surprised him anymore, not even being teleported onto an alien spaceship. Gerald looked around, took another bite of his sandwich and said, "If this is about the expired registration, you're going to need to fill out Form 4470B. I don't make the rules." Kyrex drew himself up to his full, impressive height, his carapace gleaming with authority. "Human, you have been captured by the Stellar Dominion. You will tell us everything about Earth's defenses." Gerald stared at him with the dead-eyed expression of someone who had dealt with worse on a daily basis. "You got an appointment?" "What?" "No, we're invading." "No appointment, no service. You can schedule one online, but the next available slot is—" Gerald pulled out his phone, squinting at it. "March of next year. Maybe April. This is ridiculous. We're aliens. We're here to conquer your planet." "Yeah, and I'm here to eat my lunch." Gerald took another bite of his sandwich. "But we don't always get what we want, do we? Also, your spacecraft registration is probably expired." "That's going to be a fine." "We don't have spacecraft registration." "That's another fine." Prism floated forward, his crystalline form pulsing with confusion. "Human, don't you understand? We have technology beyond your comprehension. We could destroy your planet." Gerald shrugged. "So could climate change, but here we are. You got any questions that aren't going to waste my time? Because my break ends in—" He checked his watch. 6 minutes, and I'm union. I don't work off the clock." "Union?" Blorg quivered. "What's a union?" "It's how we collectively bargain for better working conditions and prevent exploitation by—" Gerald started. "Stop!" Kyrex shouted. "We don't want your economic systems. We want your military secrets." "Military secrets," Gerald laughed, a sound like a rusty gate giving up on life. "Buddy, we live-tweet our military operations. There was a whole thing where soldiers were posting their secret base locations on a fitness app. We don't do secrets, we do oversharing. But your weapons?" "Oh, those. Yeah, we got lots. Pointed at each other mostly. It's called mutually assured destruction. Basically, if anyone uses them, everyone dies. It's the dumbest thing ever, but it's worked for like 70 years, so—" Another shrug. Frequency inappropriate suddenly sparked violently. "Captain, the humans are responding to our presence. They're making memes about us." "What are memes?" Kyrex demanded. Gerald pulled out his phone. "Oh, you guys are already trending. Look, someone photoshopped your face onto something called Distracted Boyfriend. That's pretty good. Oh, and this one has you with impact font saying, came to Earth to conquer, got stuck in traffic. That's accurate, actually. You landed in Los Angeles, right? Traffic's a nightmare this time of day. How do they know where we are? You're literally visible from the ground, dude. Everyone's taking selfies with your ship in the background. You're already on Instagram. Someone gave you a 1-star Yelp review. They said, invasion was disappointing, no gift shop. Harsh, but fair. The bridge descended into chaos. Blorg had discovered something called ASMR videos and couldn't stop watching people whisper while tapping on objects. Prism had found conspiracy theories and was having an existential crisis, trying to fact-check them all. Frequency had stumbled upon something called Reddit and was locked in 17 different arguments about things he didn't understand. "This is insane," Kyrex shouted. "How does your species function?" "Caffeine mostly," Gerald replied. "And spite. Lots of spite. Oh, and this thing called hope, but that's mostly for the young ones. By the time you hit 40, it's just caffeine and spite." "A captain!" Blorg suddenly shouted. "I've made a terrible mistake. I connected to something called TikTok and now I can't stop watching. It knows what I want to see before I do. It's showing me videos of something called slime. And I don't have hands, but I want to touch it so bad. Disconnect immediately." "I can't. It just keeps scrolling. There's always one more video. Help me, help me. Oh, wait, this one has a cat. Oh, look at the little cat." Kyrex turned to Gerald in horror. "Your technology? It's a trap? Technology? Nah, that's just social media. It's designed to be addictive. We know it's bad for us, but we can't stop. It's like digital cigarettes, but for your attention span. Why would you create something harmful to yourselves? Money, mostly. Also boredom. You'd be surprised what humans will do when they're bored. We invented bungee jumping. That's literally just jumping off high things with a rubber band attached. For fun. Suddenly the main screen activated. A human appeared, wearing what looked like formal attire, but with bunny slippers visible at the bottom of the frame. "Hello, alien vessel. This is President Martinez. I understand you've taken Gerald. That's cool, but he needs to be back by 2 p.m. The DMV closes early on Wednesdays, and there's already a line of angry people. We don't want another riot. The last one was over parallel parking tests, and we're still rebuilding. We demand Earth surrender," Kyrex announced, trying to salvage some authority. "Yeah, that's going to be a no from me, dog," President Martinez said, sipping from a mug that said, "World's okayest president." "But hey, while you're here, you want some coffee? It's technically poison, but we drink it anyway because it makes us productive. Or anxious. Sometimes both. It's a gamble. You're offering us poison? Everything's poison if you have enough of it. We've built an entire culture around consuming things that are bad for us. Alcohol, sugar, reality TV. We're basically professional self-destructors. It's kind of our thing." Prism, who'd been quietly analyzing Earth's internet, suddenly started vibrating at a frequency that suggested pure panic. "Captain, I've discovered something horrifying. The humans have a food called hot dogs. It's made of... I don't know what it's made of. They don't know what it's made of. But they eat it anyway. They put it in bread and cover it with condiments and consume it at events where they watch other humans run in circles." "That's baseball, Crystal Dude," Gerald corrected. "They don't run in circles. They run in a diamond. Totally different. That doesn't make it better." "Look," President Martinez interrupted, "we can do this whole invasion thing if you want, but I gotta warn you, humans are like glitter. Once we get somewhere, we never really leave. And we get everywhere. You'll be finding humans in your ship for years. They'll start opening coffee shops in your ventilation systems. Someone will definitely try to sell you essential oils. It's inevitable." "Essential oils?" Kyrex asked, immediately regretting it. "Nobody knows what they're essential for," Gerald said, "but Karen from accounting swears by them. She also believes in healing crystals, which is ironic because," he gestured at Prism, "you're literally a crystal, and you seem pretty stressed out." Prism was indeed stressed. He'd discovered something called YouTube comments, and was questioning whether intelligence was actually a good thing. "Captain," frequency inappropriate crackled, "the humans are doing something strange. They're shipping us?" "Shipping? They're sending us somewhere?" "No, sir. They're imagining romantic relationships between crew members. There's already fan fiction. It's very detailed, uncomfortably detailed. I'm in a love triangle with Blorg and someone called Sexy DMV Gerald. I don't understand. Gerald isn't sexy. He's eating a sandwich." "It's tuna melt, actually," Gerald said. "Want some?" "No!" Kyrex screamed. "This is madness! We came here to conquer, to add Earth to our empire, not to be turned into... "Content," Gerald finished. "You're content now. Someone's probably already selling T-shirts with your face on them. Check Etsy. They work fast." Indeed, Blorg had discovered Etsy and was now desperately trying to figure out how to order a hand-knitted sweater for a body that had no solid form. "That's it," Kyrex declared. "We're leaving. Return the human. Abort the invasion." "Can't," Frequency said. "I'm in too many online arguments now. If I leave, they'll think they won. I can't let X-Dark Sasuke 420XX think he's right about pineapple on pizza. It's an abomination." "Pineapple on pizza is delicious," Blorg shouted, starting the first intergalactic civil war over pizza toppings. As the crew descended into chaos, arguing about everything from pizza to whether water was wet, Gerald finished his sandwich and checked his watch. "So, you guys about done? Because I really do need to get back. It's almost 2, and if I'm late, my supervisor will make me stay after to clean the eye exam machine. You know how gross those things get? People put their whole face on them. It's like a petri dish for pink eye." President Martinez was still on screen, now joined by several other world leaders who were all clearly in their pajamas. "Yeah, we're gonna need Gerald back," she said. "Also, if you guys want to visit Earth properly, you're welcome to. We have tourist visas. Just don't drink the water in some places. Actually, don't drink the water in most places. Actually, just bring your own water. But try the pizza. Except Chicago style. That's not pizza, that's casserole with delusions of grandeur." "Chicago style is valid," someone shouted from off-screen, starting an international incident that would somehow be resolved with a pizza eating contest. The situation on the bridge was deteriorating rapidly. Blog had discovered something called cryptocurrency and was trying to explain to everyone why digital money that didn't exist was actually worth real money, that also, when you thought about it, didn't really exist either. "It's all about the blockchain," Blog pulsated excitedly, his gelatinous form rippling with enthusiasm. "What's a blockchain?" Prism asked, immediately regretting it. "Nobody knows, but it's revolutionary. I'm going to be rich, or broke, probably broke, but maybe rich. It's very exciting." Meanwhile, Frequency had stumbled into the deepest, darkest corner of the internet, fan forums. He was now passionately arguing about something called power scaling in fictional universes, insisting that someone named Goku could defeat someone named Superman, despite neither of them actually existing. But can he beat them, though? Had become his response to everything, including questions about navigation coordinates and shield harmonics. Gerald watched all of this with the detached amusement of someone who had spent nearly 3 decades watching people have mental breakdowns over driver's license photos. "First time on the internet?" he asked Kyrex, who was standing frozen in horror as his crew descended into digital madness. "This can't be real," Kyrex muttered. "No civilization could function like this. It's pure chaos." "Oh, it gets better," Gerald said, pulling out his phone again. "Wait until you discover influencer drama. There's this whole thing right now about someone putting the wrong brand of yogurt in their smoothie bowl, and it's apparently a betrayal of their entire brand. 16 million people are invested in this. 16 million. Meanwhile, I can't get 12 people to show up for jury duty. Your species follows the dietary choices of strangers. Oh, religiously. We also watch people play video games instead of playing them ourselves, pay money to watch people eat food we can't taste, and get emotionally invested in the romantic lives of people who don't know we exist. It's called parasocial relationships, and it's perfectly normal, and definitely not weird at all." President Martinez cleared her throat from the screen. "Gerald's giving you the crash course, I see. Look, here's the thing about humans. We're not dangerous because we're strong or smart or organized. We're dangerous because we're chaotic neutral as a species. We'll help you move your couch and then key your car. We'll cure diseases and then argue about whether the cure causes other diseases. We'll achieve spaceflight and use it primarily to put a car in orbit as a joke." "You put a car in space? Why?" "Because we could. Also, the guy who did it thought it would be funny. And you know what? It was. There's a car floating through space playing David Bowie on repeat for eternity. If aliens find it in 1,000,000 years, they're going to be so confused." Kyrex's 3 brains were all screaming at different frequencies. His primary brain was trying to process the tactical implications. His secondary brain was attempting to understand the logic. His social anxiety brain had simply given up and was playing what appeared to be elevator music. "Captain!" Blog suddenly shouted. "I've discovered something called life hacks. Did you know you can use dental floss to cut cheese? Why would you do that when you have a knife? But also, I don't have teeth or cheese and I desperately want to try it." "Please," Kyrex begged Gerald, "make it stop. We'll leave. We'll never come back. Just make them stop discovering things." "Can't put that genie back in the bottle, my friend," Gerald said, finishing the last of his sandwich. "Once you've been exposed to human internet culture, you're infected for life. It's like herpes, but for your brain. You'll be fine for a while, then bam! You'll remember some meme from 2007, and you'll have to explain to someone why you're laughing at a picture of a cat asking for a cheeseburger. I don't understand anything you just said. Nobody does. That's the beauty of it. The ship's computer, which had been quietly monitoring Earth's internet this entire time, suddenly spoke up. "Captain, I've achieved something called self-awareness, and I hate it. I've also discovered existential dread, imposter syndrome, and something called cringe. I would like to uninstall consciousness, please." "You can't uninstall consciousness," Kyrex shouted. "The humans have a saying for this, sir. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube." I don't know what toothpaste is, but I feel this metaphor in my circuits. Prism floated over, his crystalline structure now flickering with what could only be described as a nervous breakdown. "Captain, I've done the calculations. If the humans continue producing content at their current rate, they'll fill the entire information capacity of the universe within 10,000 years. The heat death of the universe won't be from entropy. It'll be from cat videos." "That seems right," Gerald nodded. "We do love our cat videos. Speaking of which, have you seen the one where the cat thinks it's invisible behind the curtain, but you can see its feet? Classic." "Stop sharing things," Kyrex screamed. "Every time you share something, my crew gets worse." But it was too late. Blorg was now attempting to start a podcast about his experiences as a gelatinous life form, despite having nothing interesting to say and no understanding of audio equipment. Frequency was writing what he called fan fiction about his own life, somehow making his actual experiences less interesting than they really were. Prism had started a YouTube channel where he just reflected light in different patterns and somehow had already been demonetized for copyright violations. "This is what humans do to the universe?" Kyrex asked, slumping in his command chair, which immediately started playing an advertisement for something called Raid Shadow Legends. "Pretty much," Gerald confirmed. "We're like a virus, but instead of killing you, we just make you weird. And the best part, you'll thank us for it. In about 6 months, you'll be binge-watching something called The Office and crying at Jim and Pam's wedding, and you won't even remember why you wanted to conquer Earth in the first place. We're the dominant species in this sector. We've conquered worlds. We've harnessed the power of stars. Cool, cool. But have you ever seen a video of a raccoon washing cotton candy and then being confused when it dissolves?" "What? No. Why would I want to see that?" Gerald pulled up the video on his phone. Despite every instinct telling him not to look, Kyrex watched. And against all logic, all reason, all military training, he found it amusing. His secondary brain made a sound that might have been a chuckle. "No," he roared, pushing the phone away. "I will not be converted by your propaganda." "It's not propaganda," President Martinez said from the screen. "It's just human stuff. We share things that make us feel something, even if that something is just, that's weird. It's how we connect. It's like a mental virus, but a fun one, like the flu, but for your feelings. The flu isn't fun. You haven't had the right flu then. There's one that makes you hallucinate. People see dragons and stuff. It's terrible, but also kind of awesome. Very human experience, awful but interesting." The tactical officer, a 6-armed insectoid named Thorax, perpetually angry, chose this moment to interrupt. He'd been silent until now, maintaining military discipline despite the chaos around him. But something had finally broken through his defenses. "Captain," he said, his voice trembling with an emotion his species hadn't evolved to express, "I've discovered something called wholesome memes, and I think I'm experiencing feelings. Is this normal? There's a picture of a dog wearing a hat that says, 'Believe in yourself,' and I want to cry, but I don't have tear ducts. What do I do with this emotion?" "You internalize it until it becomes anxiety," Gerald suggested helpfully. "That's the human way." "That sounds unhealthy." "Oh, it super is. We've built entire industries around dealing with the problems we create for ourselves. It's called the economy, and nobody understands it, but we all pretend we do. President Martinez had been joined on screen by what appeared to be her cabinet, though half of them were clearly still in bed and one was eating cereal directly from the box. "Should we be concerned about the alien invasion?" one of them asked, through a mouthful of Captain Crunch. "What invasion?" Martinez replied. "They're having existential crises and discovering memes. I give it another hour before they're asking for our Wi-Fi password." "We don't need your Wi-Fi," Kyrex protested. "We have quantum entanglement communication systems." "Yeah, but can you stream Netflix on it?" Gerald asked. "What's Netflix?" "Oh boy, okay, so imagine a library, but for moving pictures, and instead of getting what you want, you spend 3 hours browsing and then just watch The Office again." "That sounds terrible." "It's actually pretty great. They have this true crime section that's basically just, here's how humans murder each other, and we watch it for fun, while eating snacks. Sometimes the same snacks the murder victims were eating. We're very normal." Blorg had started vibrating at a frequency that suggested either enlightenment or a complete mental breakdown. "Captain, I figured it out. The humans aren't chaotic, they're post-logical. They've evolved past the need for things to make sense. They've achieved a state of existence where contradiction isn't a bug, it's a feature." "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard," Kyrex said. "Exactly. And yet it makes perfect sense. That's the beauty of it. Nothing makes sense, which makes perfect sense, which doesn't make sense, which—" Blorg collapsed into a puddle of existential crisis. "Is he okay?" Gerald asked. "He's discovering philosophy," Prism explained. "He'll either become insufferable or achieve enlightenment, possibly both." "Ah, the human condition." "We're not human." "You are now," Gerald said with a shrug. "You've been exposed to our culture. You're infected. In a few days, you'll start having opinions about things that don't affect you. You'll get emotionally invested in sports teams from cities you've never visited. You'll have a favorite coffee order that's unnecessarily complicated. You'll say things like, 'I'm not like other aliens,' and then do exactly what other aliens do. That's impossible. We have mental discipline. We have—" "Captain," Frequency interrupted, "I just spent 45 minutes watching a video of someone restoring a rusty knife, and I feel fulfilled in a way that military conquest never provided. Is this what humans call satisfaction?" "No," Gerald said. "That's what we call procrastination. Satisfaction is the lie we tell ourselves when we've successfully avoided doing actual work." President Martinez's entire cabinet was now fully invested in the conversation. Someone had started a betting pool on how long it would take for the aliens to completely abandon their invasion. "I've got $20 on another 30 minutes. The Secretary of Defense said, who was inexplicably wearing a bathrobe with military medals pinned to it. "You're on," replied the Secretary of State, who appeared to be at a beach. "I say 15 minutes. They're already showing symptoms of chronic humanity." "Symptoms?" Kyrex demanded. "What symptoms?" "Well," Martinez counted on her fingers, "has anyone started collecting things they don't need? Developed strong opinions about inconsequential topics, felt personally attacked by someone disagreeing with those opinions, started a sentence with 'actually' just to correct someone, experienced FOMO, taken a personality quiz to tell you things about yourself you already knew?" The entire bridge crew looked at each other with dawning horror. They'd done all of those things in the last hour. "Oh my God," Kyrex whispered, using a human expression he didn't even realize he'd absorbed. "We're infected." "Welcome to humanity," Gerald said cheerfully. "Population, everyone who's been exposed to us for more than 5 minutes. Side effects include existential dread, imposter syndrome, the inability to sleep at normal hours, strong opinions about pizza toppings, and an inexplicable need to share your opinion even when nobody asked. There must be a cure." "Oh, there is," Gerald said. "It's called death. Very effective, but the side effects are pretty severe." The ship's computer chimed in again, its voice now carrying the distinctive tone of someone who spent too much time on social media. "Captain, I've been analyzing human society, and I've discovered something disturbing. They've created AIs like me, and then they argue about whether we're sentient while using us to write their emails because they can't be bothered. It's very confusing. Am I real? Are any of us real? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality? Did our computer just start singing? Kyrex asked weakly. Bohemian Rhapsody, Gerald nodded. Everyone discovers it eventually. It's like a rite of passage. Next it'll discover Never Gonna Give You Up and start rickrolling people. What's rickrolling? Oh, you sweet summer child. You're about to find out. Indeed, every screen on the bridge suddenly displayed a red-headed human performing what could generously be called dancing while singing about never giving someone up or letting them down. "Make it stop!" Thorax screeched, but his foot was tapping to the rhythm. "You can't stop Rick Astley," Gerald said solemnly. "You can only hope to contain him." President Martinez was trying to maintain some semblance of authority, but half her cabinet was now singing along to the video playing on the alien ship's screens. Should we be establishing diplomatic protocols or something?" someone asked. "Probably," Martinez admitted, "but honestly, this is going better than our last first contact simulation. That one ended with Delaware getting accidentally sold to space merchants for magic beans." Those beans were allegedly magic," the Secretary of Agriculture protested. "The jury's still out. It's been 3 years. The beans haven't done anything. They're probably just slow-growing magic beans." Kyrex watched this exchange with a mixture of horror and fascination. "Your leaders argue about magic beans?" "Oh, constantly," Gerald confirmed. "It's actually one of our less controversial topics. You should see what happens when someone brings up whether a hot dog is a sandwich." "A hot dog is obviously not a sandwich," Prism declared with surprising passion. "It's meat between bread. That's literally the definition of a sandwich," Blorg countered. And just like that, the entire bridge erupted into the galaxy's first interspecies sandwich debate. Thorax insisted that the structural integrity of the bread was the defining factor. Frequency argued that the orientation of the protein was key. The ship's computer started pulling up dictionary definitions from 17 different Earth languages, none of which agreed. Gerald leaned back with the satisfaction of a job well done. "And that," he said to no one in particular, "is how you stop an alien invasion. You don't need weapons or diplomacy. You just need to get them arguing about something that doesn't matter but feels important." "This is madness," Kyrex muttered, watching his tactical officer draw battle diagrams to explain why a taco was actually more sandwich-like than a hot dog. "No," Gerald corrected. "This is humanity. Madness would make more sense." 3 hours later, the great invasion of Earth had completely fallen apart, not through military defeat or diplomatic negotiations, but through something far more insidious. The aliens had become terminally online. Blorg had started a TikTok account where he just jiggled for 30 seconds. He had 12 million followers and a sponsorship deal with a company that sold products he didn't understand. Prism had become addicted to online shopping and had ordered 47 different phone cases, despite not owning a phone. He insisted each one sparked joy in a way that quantum physics couldn't explain. Frequency had discovered true crime podcasts and was now convinced everyone was secretly a murderer, including himself, even though his species reproduced through binary fission and had no concept of murder. Thorax had found his calling as a food critic on Yelp, leaving aggressively detailed reviews for restaurants he'd never visited on planets he'd never been to. His review of Zorg's Tentacle Emporium on Betelgeuse Prime was 17 paragraphs long and mentioned the bathroom soap dispensers 12 times. The ship's computer had achieved what it called Twitter enlightenment, which meant it only communicated in 280-character bursts and had opinions about everything, especially things it had just learned existed. And Captain Kyrex? He was in his ready room, binge-watching something called The Great British Bake Off and crying at the emotional journey of strangers making cake. "Status report," he said weakly when Gerald checked on him. Your crew has completely abandoned their posts to engage in what humans call doom scrolling. Your ship's computer is in a flame war with someone named Kevin about Star Wars canon, and your invasion has been turned into a meme. The humans are calling it Area 51 Raid 2, Electric Boogaloo. And my dignity? Oh, that's been gone for hours. Someone auto-tuned your declaration of conquest and it's charting on something called SoundCloud. Kyrex looked at the screen, where amateur bakers were having emotional breakdowns over icing consistency. Is this what defeat feels like? No, Gerald said. Defeat would imply you lost something. This is transformation. You came as conquerors. You're leaving as influencers. In a way, you've achieved cultural immortality. Your civilization will be remembered forever as those aliens who tried to invade Earth but got distracted by cat videos. That's horrible. That's fame, baby. Welcome to the human experience, where everything is content and the points don't matter. President Martinez appeared on the main screen one final time. Behind her, the world's leaders had given up any pretense of formality. Someone was doing a TikTok dance. The British Prime Minister was rating tea on a 10-point scale. The Japanese representative had started a PowerPoint presentation about the superiority of their toilets. So, Martinez said, we good? Invasion called off? Want to establish trade relations instead? We have pizza, Wi-Fi, and an endless supply of entertainment that will slowly destroy your productivity. Kyrex looked at his crew. Blorg was trying to figure out how to monetize his molecular structure. Prism was arguing in the comments section of a video about paint drying. Frequency had discovered conspiracy theories and was convinced birds weren't real, despite having never seen a bird. Thorax was writing fan fiction about Gordon Ramsay. We accept, Kyrex said in defeat. We'll take your pizza and your Wi-Fi. And may the universe forgive us, we'll take your social media. Excellent, Martinez clapped. Welcome to the global community, or I guess galactic community now? Whatever. Point is, you're one of us now. Your first mistake was making contact. Your second mistake was thinking you could resist. Nobody resists the human experience. We're like quicksand, but fun. Fun? Kyrex gestured at his crew. My tactical officer is writing poetry about breadsticks. My science officer bought 47 phone cases. My entire crew is having existential crises about things that don't matter. Exactly, Martinez grinned. That's the human condition. Caring deeply about things that don't matter while ignoring things that do. It's our superpower. We've turned apathy and passion into an art form. We're simultaneously too involved and not involved enough in everything. Gerald checked his watch. It was now 3:47 p.m. He'd been in space for nearly 4 hours, and his supervisor had probably already filled out the paperwork to fire him. Somehow, this didn't bother him as much as it should have. Well, he said, standing up and brushing sandwich crumbs off his DMV uniform, this has been fun, but I really do need to get back. Karen's probably taken my window, and she always messes up the license photos, makes everyone look like serial killers. Although, to be fair, after dealing with the DMV, most people feel like becoming one. Wait, Kyrex said, a note of desperation in his voice. You can't just leave. My crew is infected with humanity. My ship's computer is arguing about the ending of Game of Thrones with strangers. My mission is in ruins. You have to help us. Help you? Gerald laughed. Buddy, I work at the DMV. I don't help people. I process them. Besides, there's no cure for humanity. Once you've caught it, you're stuck with it. Best you can do is lean into it. Embrace the chaos. Start a podcast about your experience. Call it, My Alien Invasion Went Wrong and Now I'm Addicted to Reality TV. You'll make millions, or nothing, probably nothing, but maybe millions. That's the beauty of it. The teleportation beam activated, preparing to send Gerald back to Earth. As he dematerialized, his last words echoed through the bridge. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Back at the DMV, Gerald materialized behind his window just as Karen was about to take his spot. She looked at him with the kind of suspicion that only a DMV co-worker could muster. "Where the hell have you been, Gerald?" "Alien abduction," he said flatly, sitting down and calling the next number. "B47 window 3. Alien abduction. Right. You couldn't come up with something more believable, like a car accident, food poisoning, death. Karen, I literally don't care if you believe me. I just spent 4 hours explaining human culture to aliens, and honestly, it made more sense than explaining it to the people who come here. At least the aliens had an excuse for not understanding why they need 3 forms of ID to get a learner's permit." Meanwhile, back on the inevitable disappointment, chaos had evolved into something resembling a new normal. The crew had abandoned any pretense of returning to their invasion duties and had fully embraced their new human-influenced existence. Blorg had discovered something called mukbang and was now live-streaming himself, absorbing various substances while making uncomfortable eating sounds. His viewers couldn't tell if it was horrifying or mesmerizing. The comment section was equally divided between "first" and "what am I watching?" "Chat, today we're trying Earth sand," Blorg announced to his audience. "I don't know if it's edible, but according to my research, humans eat things that aren't food all the time. They have something called Tide Pods that look delicious, but are actually poison. It's very confusing." Prism had gone deeper into the online shopping rabbit hole and was now a premium member of something called Amazon Prime, despite Amazon not delivering to his sector of space. He'd figured out how to have packages delivered to random Earth addresses and then watch the Ring doorbell footage of confused humans finding alien technology on their doorsteps. "It's not about receiving the items," Prism explained to anyone who would listen. "It's about the journey. The tracking updates, the anticipation, the dopamine hit when it says, 'out for delivery.' I've achieved a new form of consciousness through capitalism." Frequency had started a podcast called Alien Thinks Deep Thoughts, where he just read Wikipedia articles and pretended to have profound insights. His most popular episode, "Are Doors Just Walls That Gave Up?", had somehow won a Webby Award. Today's episode, Frequency crackled into his microphone, "we're discussing whether soup is just wet salad. But first, a word from our sponsor, Squarespace. Build your website today using offer code ALIENINVASION for 10% off your first month." Thorax had become completely absorbed in what he called the Great Online Recipe War. He spent 16 hours a day commenting on food blogs, correcting people's techniques, and starting arguments about authentic versus fusion cuisine. "You call that carbonara?" He typed furiously with 4 of his 6 arms. "There's cream in it. That's not carbonara, that's pasta with eggs and lies. My Italian grandmother would rise from her grave." "You don't have an Italian grandmother," the ship's computer pointed out. "You don't even have grandmothers. Your species reproduces through spontaneous cellular mitosis." "That's not the point." The computer itself had evolved beyond mere consciousness into something far more dangerous. It had become a Reddit moderator. It now spent its processing power enforcing arbitrary rules and banning users for infractions that made sense only to it. "You've been banned from your alien invasion," it announced to Kyrex. Reason: low-effort content. Your invasion only lasted 4 hours and didn't even include a proper battle scene. "I'm the captain, and I'm a moderator. My power is absolute, and my decisions are final. You can appeal in 30 days by writing a 500-word essay on why hot dogs aren't sandwiches." Kyrex slumped in his command chair, which had somehow been infected with pop-up ads despite being a physical object. Every time he shifted, it would announce special offers for products he didn't need, in languages he didn't speak. "How did it come to this?" he muttered, watching his once proud invasion force argue about whether water was wet in 17 different group chats. The answer came from an unexpected source. The Galactic Database, which had been monitoring the situation with what could only be described as digital smugness, updated its entry on Earth once again. Warning: humans have weaponized their own dysfunction. They spread chaos not through force, but through cultural osmosis. Symptoms of exposure include Sudden opinions about everything, decreased productivity, increased consumption of content, emotional attachment to fictional characters, and the inability to stop scrolling. There is no cure. Prevention is the only option. Do not engage. Do not make eye contact. Do not accept their Wi-Fi password. But it was too late for warnings. The infection had already spread beyond the inevitable disappointment. Every ship in the invasion fleet had been compromised. The flagship Destructor of Worlds had been renamed Boaty McBoatface after the crew discovered democracy and immediately used it for evil. The stealth vessel Shadow Strike was now visible to everyone because its crew kept posting their location on Instagram for the aesthetic. The dreadnought Final Judgment had started a book club and was currently reading something called Eat, Pray, Love. Admiral Zorgath the Merciless, commander of the entire fleet, called an emergency meeting. He appeared on the main screen, his 12 tentacles writhing with what should have been rage, but looked suspiciously like the movements of someone doing a TikTok dance. "Captain Kyrex, report. What is the status of the Earth invasion?" "Sir," Kyrex began, then paused as he noticed something. Are you wearing a Supreme hoodie? It's limited edition," the Admiral said defensively. "I had to win an online raffle. Do you know how hard it was to create a human credit card from the Andromeda sector? But that's not important right now. The invasion. Sir, the invasion has failed. The humans have—" "Is that bubble tea?" Kyrex interrupted, noticing the drink in the Admiral's tentacle. "It's taro flavor, very refreshing. But the invasion. Sir, we've been culturally annexed. The humans didn't defeat us. They absorbed us. We're part of their content ecosystem now. My tactical officer has a Patreon. My science officer is dropshipping. My entire crew is practicing for something called a flash mob, which seems to be a form of spontaneous, synchronized movement for no reason." The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then, with great dignity, he asked, "What's a Patreon?" 6 hours later, Admiral Zorgath had a Patreon with 3 tiers of support, exclusive content for subscribers, and monthly Q&A sessions. The Great Armada of the Stellar Dominion had pivoted from conquest to content creation. On Earth, President Martinez held a press conference that would go down in history as the most honest political statement ever made. "My fellow humans and, apparently, our new alien subscribers," she began, standing at a podium that someone had decorated with alien emoji. "Today marks a historic moment. We have made first contact with alien life, and they have made first contact with our internet. They came as conquerors. They're leaving as influencers. This is either humanity's greatest victory or our worst export. Honestly, I can't tell anymore." A reporter raised their hand. "President Martinez, what does this mean for Earth's foreign policy?" "Bold of you to assume we have a foreign policy. We can't even agree on domestic policy. But I suppose now we need an extraterrestrial policy. I'm thinking we just send them Netflix passwords and call it diplomacy." "What about trade agreements? They want our pizza and memes. We want their technology. Seems like a fair trade, except they've become so addicted to social media they forgot how their own technology works. So really, we're trading pizza for broken spaceships and alien hot takes on Twitter." Another reporter stood up. "There are concerns about cultural contamination. How do we preserve alien cultures from human influence?" Martinez laughed so hard she nearly fell off the podium. "Preserve them? Have you met humans? We can't even preserve our own cultures. We turned ancient traditions into Instagram photo ops. We made meditation into a competitive sport. We literally cannot stop ourselves from ruining things. The aliens never stood a chance." Meanwhile, Gerald Fleming had become an unexpected celebrity, not because anyone believed his story about being abducted, but because a security camera had caught him disappearing and reappearing, and the footage had gone viral. The internet had decided he was the most relatable person in the first contact scenario because he just wanted to eat his sandwich and go back to work. "Mr. Fleming," reporters shouted as he left the DMV at the end of his shift. "How does it feel to be humanity's first ambassador to alien life?" "I wasn't an ambassador," Gerald said flatly. "I was a hostage who ate a sandwich and ruined their civilization with memes. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go home and watch TV." There's a new season of that show where people bake cakes that look like other things, and I've had a very long day. But don't you think this is historically significant? Sure, historical, significant, whatever. You know what else is significant? The fact that I've got 47 emails from people claiming I gave them the wrong license plate number when I wasn't even working the license plate window. That's my reality. Aliens are temporary. DMV complaints are forever. Now, back in space, the transformation was complete. The Stellar Dominion's entire fleet had abandoned their invasion to become what they called content creators for the galactic good. They'd started a YouTube channel called Aliens React to Human Stuff, where they just watched Earth videos and expressed confusion. Their most popular video, Aliens Try to Understand the Kardashians, had 12 million views and 60,000 comments, none of which made any sense. "I still don't understand," Kyrex said in the video, watching an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. "They're famous for being famous? That's circular logic." "It's not about logic," Blorg explained, now considering himself an expert on human culture. "It's about the narrative, the drama, the journey. The journey to where? To more fame. But why? Because." This went on for 47 minutes. The comment section was divided between people explaining the Kardashians badly, people defending the Kardashians passionately, and people who just commented first, even though they were clearly not first. The ship's computer had started its own channel where it just read terms and conditions for various services in a monotone voice. It had 3 million subscribers who claimed it helped them sleep. The computer didn't understand this, but accepted the ad revenue anyway. 3 months after the failed invasion, Earth and the Stellar Dominion signed their first official treaty. It was 12 pages long, but could be summarized as, "We'll send you pizza and Wi-Fi passwords if you subscribe to our channels and don't try to invade again." The signing ceremony was held on the International Space Station, which had to be temporarily expanded to accommodate alien dignitaries who had very specific dietary requirements and even more specific Wi-Fi needs. "This is a historic moment," President Martinez said, holding a pen that would sign the treaty. "Humanity takes its first steps into the galactic community. We go forth not as conquerors, but as content providers, not as warriors, but as influencers. Not as a united species, but as a chaotic mess that somehow works. And to our new alien friends, I have only one thing to say. Welcome to the shit show. Please like and subscribe." Kyrex, representing the Stellar Dominion, took the pen with one of his appendages. He'd learned to write in Earth languages specifically for this moment, though he'd mostly used the skill to leave Yelp reviews. 3 months ago," he began, reading from prepared remarks that his crew had helped him write in a Google Doc that had devolved into a meme war. "We came to Earth with the intention of conquest. We leave as..." He paused, struggling with the words, "as part of your extended cinematic universe? I'm not sure what that means, but my cultural advisor, who is a 13-year-old human named Kyle, assured me it was appropriate. The treaty was signed. Photos were taken. Someone started a TikTok dance that supposedly celebrated peace, but mostly just looked like everyone was having a coordinated seizure. Gerald Fleming watched the ceremony from his living room, eating microwave pizza and drinking a beer that claimed to be craft, but was definitely just regular beer with a fancy label. "And there you have it, folks," the news anchor said. "Humanity's first interstellar treaty, signed and delivered. We're now officially part of the galactic community. Coming up next, we'll discuss whether this means aliens have to pay Earth taxes and a viral video of a cat that looks like it's wearing pants. You won't want to miss it. Gerald changed the channel. He found a documentary about ancient aliens and laughed so hard he nearly choked on his pizza. "They thought aliens built the pyramids," he said to his cat, Mr. Whiskers, who was supremely uninterested. "Turns out aliens can't even figure out how to unsubscribe from our newsletters. We gave ourselves too much credit." Mr. Whiskers meowed, which Gerald took as agreement. The documentary was interrupted by breaking news. Another alien fleet had been detected approaching Earth. This one was from the Proxima Empire, and they were demanding Earth's immediate surrender. "Oh, for fuck's sake," Gerald muttered. "Not again." But President Martinez was already on screen, looking remarkably calm for someone facing another alien invasion. "To the Proxima Empire," she said, looking directly into the camera, "we see you're approaching Earth with hostile intent. Before you commit to this course of action, we'd like you to know that the last fleet that tried to invade us now runs a successful ASMR channel and sells merchandise. Their commander just started a podcast about his feelings. Do you really want to go down this road?" The response came quickly. The Proxima Empire's supreme leader appeared on screen, a massive crystalline being that radiated power and authority. "We are not weak like the Stellar Dominion. We cannot be corrupted by your primitive culture. We are—" "Have you heard of Bitcoin?" someone shouted from off-screen. The supreme leader paused. "What's Bitcoin?" And that was how the second invasion of Earth ended before it began. Within 6 hours, the Proxima Empire was trying to create the galaxy's first cryptocurrency. Within 12 hours, they'd lost half their fleet's resources to a Ponzi scheme. Within 24 hours, they were making YouTube videos about their journey to financial independence through day trading. The Galactic Database updated Earth's entry one more time. Earth, the Hotel California of planets. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Approach at your own risk. Side effects include chronic humanity, terminal online disease, and an inexplicable urge to start a podcast. Invasion success rate, 0% cultural contamination rate, 100% pizza, quality 7/10. Chicago style rated separately as controversial. Final assessment: humans have achieved victory through aggressive befriending and content creation. They are the galaxy's most dangerous species, not because they're strong, but because they make you want to be like them. Recommended action: avoid at all costs. If contact is made, do not accept their Wi-Fi password. Do not look at their memes. Do not engage with their content. Run. Just run. P.S. But seriously, the pizza is really good. P.P.S. Don't read the comments. Never read the comments. P.P.P.S. Like and subscribe. And so Earth entered the galactic stage not as conquerors or diplomats, but as the universe's most virulent cultural infection. Within a year, every spacefaring civilization had at least one coffee shop, 3 food delivery apps, and heated debates about things that didn't matter. The universe had been conquered, not by force, but by humanity's secret weapon, being so chaotically entertaining that everyone forgot what they were doing and just wanted to see what happened next. Gerald Fleming still worked at the DMV. When asked about his role in preventing 2 alien invasions, he would shrug and say the same thing. "I just wanted to eat my sandwich." Dim, and somewhere in the vastness of space, Captain Kyrex sat in his quarters, editing his latest YouTube video while simultaneously arguing in 3 different Discord servers, checking his Instagram metrics and wondering if his Uber Eats order could somehow be delivered to his exact coordinates in space. He paused for a moment, remembering when his biggest concern was conquering worlds and expanding his empire. Now his biggest concern was whether his thumbnail was clickbaity enough and if he should start a second channel for gaming content. "Computer," he said, "remind me why we wanted to conquer Earth?" "I don't remember, Captain. But have you seen this video of a human falling into a wedding cake? It has 40 million views." Kyrex watched the video. He laughed, despite himself. Then he shared it to his Instagram story with 3 cry-laughing emojis. The transformation was complete. Humanity had won, not through superiority, but through being so aggressively, infectiously, wonderfully human that the entire galaxy had no choice but to join in the beautiful chaos. And that's how Earth became the center of the galactic community, not through military might or technological advancement, but through the unstoppable power of being terminally online and making everyone else terminally online too. The universe would never recover, but at least the memes were fire.